Hey there everyone, happy Monday. I'm King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon. All right, so yeah, it was another hot day out there and we have seen temperatures rise considerably in a few spots, while others were actually around some of the same numbers, if not even just slightly cooler. We got one day though, and it looks like into Tuesday. That will be the third and final day of this heat event for us, and then we'll head into the middle and latter part of the week and start to notice things cooling down. So we're going to talk about that, but also we're going to go over the shower chances that are coming along with that cool down late into the week. And then you know what, as a matter of fact, that's something we're just going to get into right now, and we'll give you guys who are big cooler, gloomier, and cloudier and wetter weather fans some hope. Here it is, right here. You can see that between about maybe a half an inch, if not more, of rain up and down the I-5 corridor here over the next 7-day stretch across the central and north Cascades. 1 to 2 inches maybe on the way for us. And you can see out over the Olympics and across more of the central and north coast, 1 to 2, if not even more inches of rain ahead out into some of those parts right there. Very, very good news here for some of the dry conditions that we have across the area. And again, if you are more of a fan of this cooler weather and this cooler pattern, this is going to be your cup of tea. Now, we definitely need it because I wanted to show you what's happening out here looking at our satellite imagery, and you can see that stream of clouds that are right there across more of the Olympics. Well, that's our Bear Gulch fire that has been burning for a little while, and you kind of have these ebbs and flows that happen here over the past few days where you get the heating of the day and kind of get things to flare up. You get the smoke to kind of begin to increase, and then it kind of dies down a little bit here into the nighttime hours. Well, thankfully, we haven't really seen much of an impact when it comes to air quality, due in part because of the wildfire smoke. And for right now, most of it's heading out off towards the west through Mason County and then eventually over more of Grays Harbor County over Aberdeen right there. You can see it getting closer to Westport and Grayland. What we do expect is that will eventually start to scoot its way back off towards the east. And once that happens, well, we're going to start to notice things maybe deteriorating a little bit as far as our air quality. Now, I wanted to point this out right here. You can see a lot of good air quality showing up across western Washington, but you see that red dot that's showing up right over Seattle. Some of that, yes, smoke haze, but a lot of that too, just the sometimes typical pollutants that we have from our vehicles and homes and stuff that just come out and kind of get trapped in the atmosphere when we have an event like this. High pressure, sinking air kind of traps a lot of that air here at the surface. Not much movement going on, so we don't get that free-flowing motion off of the Pacific to help clean our air mass out. And that's kind of what's happening here for today with us, at least around the immediate Seattle, King County area. Outside of there, you can see a lot of green showing up, and we're doing pretty good. But let's talk about what's expected here, at least for one more day. That area of high pressure will keep things pretty warm tonight and heading on into the day for tomorrow. Now the coast, that's where we start to see things change up a little bit. More of a cooler air mass going to be around heading into the day for Wednesday, and that's when that cool air from the coast starts to work its way inward. We'll get that onshore push to really strengthen, and eventually we'll start to reintroduce some moisture into the atmosphere. A system comes in and it starts to pick it up, and it brings in the rain chances that we have late week and heading on into the weekend. So let's talk about that here over your next 7-day stretch. That's that forecast for you right there. One more first alert day out because of that, as we see temperatures around that 90-degree mark. Going to be another really sunny day. A few more clouds expected heading into Wednesday, cooling back down by about maybe 15 degrees right there, down to 76 degrees. Cool overnight too to go along with that, but much more of that cooler air beginning to settle on in by Thursday and heading into the end of the week. Friday and Saturday, those are the days that are going to stick out after tomorrow because of the shower chances that we have moving in at that point. Now Westport, you can see out towards the south coast here, plenty of clear skies and clear real estate. That marine layer is nowhere in sight, and same could be said up here around the north coast too, La Push, and actually Quileute, we're going to talk about that. We had a record high today. Paulsville, clear skies, again, very clear and warm up that way, and yeah, just borderline hot here. Or actually, we'll just call it hot around Port Angeles. Clear skies, and we actually made it up to 90 degrees out here. Pretty still look, though, at the Strait of Juan de Fuca and off into the distance right there. If you didn't see it, I'm going to point it out for you. That's where we have Mount Baker right there. Kind of neat to see here on a day like this. All right, up this way around Bellingham. Clear skies, sunshine reflecting off of the bay, and looking at our conditions here in Tacoma, you can see clear skies as we head on towards the end of our day there, our Monday there in Tacoma, and then around Everett, more the same. Here we are in Seattle, a little bit of a breeze out there. Yeah, it's not too much of movement in our air mass higher up, but here at the surface at least, we do have a little bit of a breeze. We're currently sitting at 13 miles per hour, so that kind of helps out, but temperature is still around the mid-80s. That's really warm here for today. We'll start to see those temperatures drop through the 80s, through the 70s, and We'll get into the 60s. I don't know how far deep into the 60s we get, but we do cool down at least to those marks, and then we'll start to see things cool down a bit more over the next couple of nights. Now, temperature change, I mentioned this at the beginning. A lot of us are around some of the same numbers we were at yesterday, but there's a difference. You can see some spots maybe slightly cooler than at this point yesterday, like around Mount Vernon, actually down by 5 degrees there. Here for Seattle, down by 2 degrees. But it's the north coast of the Olympic Peninsula. That offshore wind really kicked the temperatures up, and that's where you saw some of those 80s and 90s popping up there. So here, as of about closer to the 8 p.m. hour here, a lot of numbers up by about 10 to 12 degrees from where they were about 24 hours ago, which puts some of those temperatures around the upper 80s and lower 90s. Port Townsend, we're at 88 degrees. I know some of us, a lot of us actually, don't have the AC up there. So try to see if you can just make it here into the night and then open up those windows as much as possible, trying to let some of that breeze in because we are going to start to cool things down out there towards the coast. Look out towards the eastern side of the state too. Leavenworth, 96, 101 in Wenatchee, 99 for a current temperature in Yakima. And then more 80s around Seattle, Bremerton at 89, 85 in Bellingham. And yeah, I did want to go back and actually point out that temperature there that we had back around Quileute, 95 degrees. That was a record here for today's date. That beat out the old record of 93. All right, so radar, you can see that system that's off to the north. Well, it's saying well off to the north. I'm talking about that area of low pressure. And yeah, that's not going to be anywhere near us here anytime soon because high pressure south of there is actually keeping things nice and quiet and hot. Closer look, though, at what's happening here for us. We do have those heat advisories in effect until tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Once those end, really heading past the sunset hour, we'll start to notice things cooling down rather quickly. But more of those lows in the 60s, highs back again for your Tuesday. We'll be back into more of the mid to upper 80s and the low 90s. And again, the immediate coastline will be saved from this here tomorrow because we are expecting things to start to cool down quite a bit. Now, Futurecast is showing us here as we head on into tonight into the day tomorrow, a little more of that offshore wind. Those wind barbs still coming in from more the northeast. We'll head on into tomorrow morning, and here we are at 9:30. And I kind of wanted to see if you can notice it. It's faint, but it's there. We're starting to see that onshore push bring back our marine layer. And so you can kind of see some of those milky colors showing up. Plus, at the same time, too, a little more of an onshore push beginning to come back, while here closer to the I-5 corridor, it's coming in from the north, it's coming in from the northeast. That's more off a landmass, and that's going to be just generally hotter than what you're going to get here from off of the Pacific. So that's going to stay with us here as we head on into more the day for tomorrow, while things are starting to pick up out along more of the Olympic Peninsula, more of that onshore push. I think by mid to late afternoon, we'll start to notice differences here across eastern parts of Grays Harbor County, Mason County too, and then even getting closer to Thurston County, Tumwater, Olympia, beginning to see a little bit of a cool down late afternoon. And then by tomorrow night, it's going to take a little while, but around more areas of King County, northern Pierce County, even around Snohomish County, we got to work that cooler air mass in. And by the time we work up early Wednesday morning with those clouds around, we should see that now, I wouldn't say firmly in place, but a good bit in place and starting to cool things down. And you can see a lot of that cloud mass in place with that marine layer coming back around for us. Continuing on into Wednesday afternoon, we get a little more of that, and then you can see a lot of that wind going from west to east across the entire state, and maybe some sprinkles trying to pop up out there along the coast, maybe some patchy areas of mist, but not much to the rain yet. We'll get more into that here in a second. Future temperatures kind of shows us that as we head on into tomorrow morning, start off warm, some 60s. I think the models right here a little cooler in some areas like around Seattle. I don't know if we'll get down to about 60 degrees, but it is going to be in the 60s, maybe just a bit warmer. We'll get into the afternoon, back in the upper 80s, the lower 90s. We'll go there. Out towards the coast, huge differences out that way as temperatures are back only in the 70s and the 60s. That is going to be a huge relief from what we had today. Check that out, 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, 62 in Hoquiam. 77, that's it. After hitting 95 today in Quileute, we'll get up into more of those mid to upper 70s. And then our numbers start to come crashing back down, heading on into tomorrow night. A lot of low 60s as we head into early Wednesday morning. And then we'll head on into more of Wednesday afternoon. And that's it as far as your highs, 70s and 60s for those afternoon numbers. And we'll keep that trend going on into Thursday and into the end of the week. So looking at your temperatures here over the next 7 days, we go from 91 on Tuesday, mid 70s by Wednesday, and we'll keep those 70s and 60s around for highs, starting off heading into really on Wednesday all the way through next work week. And the normal highs at 78. So after tomorrow, each one of these days are actually going to be sitting below average. Now let's talk about the the shower chances, the rain that's going to be on the way, and it's in the forecast as we go later into the week. Thursday morning early at about 1 o'clock. Not much really popping up as of yet. We continue that on and get closer towards the end of this period heading into Friday. Check out this massive looking system. This is a decent disturbance for this time of the year. It has a lot of moisture and rain kind of directed and just shoved right into our area across the Pacific Northwest. Of course, the higher chances of that deeper moisture will be up across Vancouver Island and BC, but we're kind of still in a good range of that being the case for us. So that rain, which is indicated by all that green and some of that deeper green indicating some heavier rain, is directed right at us, and that will continue to bring in some moderates and maybe even heavier showers. You see a little bit of a blip of yellow too. I'm going to go back and kind of show you that here. That shows up as we go, boom, there it is right there, heading into late Friday evening. That's at about 5:30. That's out there towards the coast. So if we get that, again, that's what's really helping to drive some of those totals that I showed you before up a bit out there towards the central and north coast. We'll keep some showery weather around as we head on into Saturday as well, kind of off and on in nature, but maybe even some more showers around as we get some wraparound moisture heading on into Sunday. That's something we'll keep an eye on for, and if we need to change the forecast, we'll go ahead and do so for that. But that's just coming along with this pretty big shift in our pattern that will be in shape after we get done with this heat stretch that we've been dealing with here over the past few days. Now, looking at the forecast, when it comes to rainfall totals, yet again, I did want to point it out, it's looking pretty nice for us. You can see amounts ranging from about a half an inch, if not more, across plenty of areas here across more the I-5 corridor. You get closer to the central and north coast, that's where we could see some amounts between 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches in the higher terrain across the Olympics. And similar, maybe just slightly less up across the Cascades between 1 to 2 inches there. So we got rain on the way. And it's definitely going to help our Bear Gulch fire. Don't think we're going to completely put it out, but this will definitely go a long way to helping to dampen the soil again, dampen the vegetation, and work with firefighters over there who are trying to get this fire out as quickly as possible and combat the conditions that they're dealing with over that way. All right, your forecast heading on into the night. Low to mid 60s in many spots. 56 though out towards the coast. Again, cooler air beginning to arrive out that way. And then highs tomorrow will get up into the mid 80s around Bellingham, 83 in Blaine, 88 in Mount Vernon. Still going to see a lot of hot air here closer to the I-5 corridor. So around Arlington, Marysville, Monroe, more low 90s. Oso getting up to 92. Gold Bar hitting 92 degrees. Clinton and Coopville, low to mid 80s. Still keeping the heat there, and it's going to be quite warm for us there in Oak Harbor too, 76 degrees. Not something we deal with all the time, but at least it's not as extreme as what you're seeing farther south, where Shoreline is at 91, 92 in Redmond. We'll top off at 92 in Issaquah, 94 in Auburn, Bremerton up to 92 degrees. Could even be some mid-90s down this way around Belfair, Olympia, and in Elm, all getting up around 95 to 96 degrees tonight, hitting that same number. Getting closer to the Oregon state line. Expect that their temperatures, those temperatures could be back into the mid-90s over that way around Centralia, Castle Rock, and Longview, while out towards the coast, we'll start to see that cooler air mass beginning to arrive. And we'll be cooler around the south coast, where we'll have that thermal trough kind of help to draw in a bit more of that air off of the Pacific, while the north coast will feel a little bit of it, but it won't be quite to the extent as what you're noticing farther south. More low 70s for us up that way around Claylock and in the Bay. And look at your 7-day forecast. We got the 1 day of the heat still yet to come for tomorrow, still in first alert mode because of that. And then there's a long stretch of cooler weather and possibly, wetter weather going to be coming back around for us too, which will help with our lawns, our vegetation, our gardens, everything that we have that needs water, including ourselves as well. Okay, everyone, well, try to get through one more day. Try to stay as cool as possible here into the night too. Use those fans. If you have an AC unit or something inside of your home to cool you down, try to do that, or just open your windows too, and hopefully there'll be enough of a breeze to kind of help you out there. And then once we get past tomorrow afternoon, we'll be set to go, and that cooler air will be with us here for quite some time. All right, everyone, well, have a good evening. Stay safe, stay cool, and we'll talk to you soon.